The hospital room reeked of antiseptic. A sharp sting that clung to the back of Amara's throat. She was 16. Perched on a hard plastic chair. Her eyes locked on her mother's frail form beneath the thin hospital blanket. Every beep of the heart monitor felt like a countdown she couldn't stop. Amara's mother, Leisha, had been fighting cancer for 2 years. But the disease was winning. Her once vibrant skin was now ashen. Her laughter replaced by labored breaths. Amara gripped her mother's hand, her own fingers trembling, as she whispered promises she wasn't sure she could keep. "I'll find a way, Mama. I'll make you better." But the truth gnawed at her. They had no money, no insurance, and no miracles left. Amara was a black girl in a small Ohio town, raised by a single mother who worked 2 jobs to keep them afloat. Their life had never been easy, but love had always been enough until now. School. Amara was the quiet one, her nose buried in books, her heart buried deeper in secrets. She'd known she was a lesbian since she was 13, but she'd only told her mother, who'd hugged her tightly and said, "You're perfect, baby. Always will be." That acceptance was her anchor, but now it was slipping away with every shallow breath Leisha took. The hospital bills piled up like a cruel joke. Amara spent nights scouring the internet for solutions, her laptop screen glowing in their tiny apartment. Experimental treatments existed, but they cost more than she could ever dream of earning. Desperation clawed at her. And when the social worker came to the hospital one gray afternoon, Amara's world tilted further. "If your mother doesn't recover," the woman said gently, "we'll need to find you a foster home." Amara's stomach dropped. She was 16, not a child, but not old enough to fight the system alone. That's when Claire and Emily entered her life. Claire, with her sharp blonde bob and lawyer's poise, and Emily, with her warm brown curls and artist's gentleness, were a white couple in their late 30s who'd been fostering kids for years. They'd heard about Amara through a local church group and offered to take her in temporarily while Leisha fought for her life. Amara didn't trust them at first. They were strangers, and their world a cozy house with a garden, bookshelves stuffed with novels, and a fridge always full felt alien. But their kindness was relentless. Claire helped with legal paperwork for Leisha's care, and Emily cooked Amara's favorite mac and cheese, asking about her dreams without pushing too hard. Amara moved into their home reluctantly, her backpack stuffed with clothes and a photo of her mother. She kept to herself, her heart tethered to the hospital. But at night, when the house was quiet, she'd overhear Claire and Emily talking softly about their own struggles, how they'd fought to be together in a town that didn't always understand their love. They were a lesbian couple, too. And that cracked something open in Amara. She wasn't alone. School was another battle. Amara attended Lincoln High, where whispers followed her like shadows. She was the black girl with the sick mom, now living with the weird white ladies. Her classmates didn't know she was gay, but the rumors were cruel enough without that truth. One day, during lunch, a girl named Kayla approached her. Kayla was 17, with a confident smile and a knack for breaking rules. She slid into the seat across from Amara and said, "You look like you need a friend." Amara froze, unsure if this was a trap, but Kayla's eyes were kind, and something in her voice felt like home. Kayla was openly queer, unafraid of the stares or the occasional slurs thrown her way. She was white, with short, dyed purple hair and a leather jacket that screamed rebellion. Amara didn't know why Kayla chose her, but their conversations became a lifeline. They'd sit under the bleachers, sharing secrets and stolen glances. For the first time, Amara felt the stir of something new, something that scared and thrilled her. She was falling for Kayla, and it was a light in her darkening world. But the hospital loomed over everything. Leisha's condition worsened, and the doctors were blunt: without a miracle treatment, she had months, maybe weeks. Amara spent every free moment researching, her eyes burning from lack of sleep. She found a clinical trial in California that could save her mother. But the cost was astronomical, $200,000, far beyond anything Claire and Emily could afford. Even with their stable incomes, Amara felt helpless, but she refused to give up. She started working odd jobs after school, saving every penny, but it was a drop in the bucket. One night, Amara sat on her bed in Claire and Emily's house, staring at the photo of her mother. Tears fell as she whispered, "I can't lose you, Mama." Then she heard a soft knock. Emily stood in the doorway, her eyes full of understanding. "You're not alone in this, Amara," she said. "We're your family now, too." Those words broke something in Amara, but they also sparked an idea. She wasn't just fighting for her mother, she was fighting for the family she'd found, both old and new. Amara didn't know it yet, but her determination would soon shake the entire town. She was about to do something extraordinary, something that would redefine love, sacrifice, and what it meant to belong. Amara's days blurred into a rhythm of school, hospital visits, and late-night planning. The clinical trial in California was her only hope, but the $200,000 price tag mocked her every effort. She'd saved $300 from babysitting and washing cars, a pitiful sum against the mountain of debt. Still, she clung to the belief that she could make the impossible happen. Kayla became her shadow, sneaking her snacks during study hall and texting her silly memes to keep her spirits up. Their connection deepened, but Amara kept her feelings locked tight, afraid to let love distract her from saving her mother. Claire and Emily noticed the change in Amara. She was quieter, her eyes red from crying or exhaustion or both. One evening, Claire sat her down at the kitchen table, a stack of legal documents spread out. "We're working on getting your mom into that trial," Claire said, her voice steady but kind. "But it's complicated. The hospital needs proof of funding." Amara's heart sank. She knew Claire and Emily were stretching their savings, even taking on extra work. But it wasn't enough. "I'll find a way," Amara said, her voice fierce despite the tears threatening to spill. Kayla, meanwhile, was relentless in her support. She'd drag Amara to the local diner, insisting on paying for milkshakes, and talk about everything but cancer music, movies, dreams of escaping their small town. One rainy afternoon, under the awning of the diner, Kayla grabbed Amara's hand and held it a moment too long. "You don't have to do this alone," she said, her eyes searching Amara's. The air between them crackled, and Amara's heart raced. She wanted to lean in, to let herself feel something good, but guilt stopped her. How could she fall in love when her mother was dying? School. The whispers grew louder. Someone had seen Amara and Kayla together, and the rumors twisted into something ugly. "She's living with those lesbians, and now she's one of them," a boy sneered in the hallway. Amara's fists clenched, but Kayla just laughed it off, flipping the boy off with a grin. "Let them talk," she told Amara later. "They're just jealous they don't have this." She gestured between them, and Amara's cheeks burned. Kayla's confidence was a shield, but Amara wasn't ready to wear it. Desperate for money, Amara started a crowdfunding page for Leisha's treatment. She poured her heart into the description, writing about her mother's laughter, her strength, and the unfairness of a system that let people die because they were poor. She posted it on social media, expecting nothing, but Kayla shared it with everyone she knew. By the next morning, it had $500 small, but a start. Amara's hope flickered. But so did her fear. What if it wasn't enough? What if she failed? Claire and Emily stepped up in ways Amara hadn't expected. Emily, the artist, designed flyers for a community fundraiser, while Claire used her legal connections to negotiate with the hospital for more time. They hosted a meeting at their house, inviting neighbors and church members. Amara was nervous. Some of these people had whispered about Claire and Emily's relationship, and she wasn't sure they'd care about a black woman they barely knew. But the room filled up, and when Amara stood to speak, her voice shook but didn't break. "My mom's the strongest person I know," she said. "She deserves a chance." The room was silent. Then someone clapped, and soon the whole crowd was on their feet. The fundraiser brought in $10. 000, a miracle, but still far from enough. Amara felt the weight of every dollar, every hope pinned on her. She started skipping classes to work more jobs, ignoring Claire's worried glances and Emily's gentle questions. Kayla noticed, too, and one night she showed up at Amara's window, tapping until she let her in. "You're killing yourself," Kayla said, her voice soft but firm. "You can't save her if you fall apart." Amara broke down, sobbing into Kayla's arms. It was the first time she'd let herself cry like that, and Kayla held her through it, whispering, "I'm here. I'm not going anywhere." The next day, Amara got a call from the hospital. Leisha had taken a turn for the worse. She rushed there, her heart pounding, and found her mother awake but weak. "You're so strong, baby," Leisha whispered, her voice barely audible. "But you gotta live, too." Amara shook her head, tears falling. "I'm not giving up on you." Leisha squeezed her hand, and in that moment, Amara knew she'd do anything to keep her mother alive. Back at home, Amara found a letter tucked into her backpack. It was from Kayla, short and scrawled in her messy handwriting. "You're not alone. Let's do this together." Amara's heart swelled, but so did her resolve. She had an idea, risky, impossible idea that could change everything. It would take every ounce of her courage, and it might just shock the entire town. Amara's idea was reckless, but she was out of options. The clinical trial's deadline was looming, and the crowdfunding had stalled at $15. 000. She couldn't wait for miracles anymore. She'd read about a national essay contest for high schoolers, with a $100. 000 prize for a story about overcoming adversity. The winner would also get a chance to speak at a gala in New York, broadcast live across the country. Amara wasn't a writer, but she had a story: her mother's fight, her own struggle, and the love that held them together. She stayed up all night, pouring her heart onto the page, her words raw and unpolished but real. She titled it "Love Against the Odds," and wrote about growing up black in a small town, loving her mother through cancer, and finding unexpected family in Claire and Emily. She wrote about Kayla, too, though she didn't name her, just "the girl who made me believe in light again." When she hit submit, her hands shook. The odds were slim, but it was a chance. She didn't tell anyone, not even Kayla, afraid to jinx it. Days turned into weeks, and Amara threw herself into more fundraisers. Claire and Emily organized a bake sale, and Kayla rallied her friends to perform at a local talent show, donating the proceeds. The community was starting to rally, but the hospital's patience was thinning. One evening, Claire got a call. If they didn't secure funding soon, Leisha would be moved to palliative care. Amara overheard and felt her world crack. She ran to her room, slamming the door, and cried until her throat was raw. Emily knocked softly, then sat beside her without speaking, just holding her hand. Kayla was there the next day, dragging Amara to the park to clear her head. They sat on a bench, the autumn leaves crunching under their feet. "You're carrying too much," Kayla said, her voice gentle but firm. "Let me help." Amara wanted to argue, but instead, she leaned into Kayla, their shoulders touching. "I'm scared," she admitted. Kayla turned, her eyes fierce. "Then we'll be scared together." Their lips met, soft and tentative, and for a moment, the world didn't feel so heavy. The kiss changed everything. Amara felt alive, but guilt gnawed at her. How could she be happy when her mother was fading? She pulled back, her breath shaky. "I can't do this right now," she whispered. Kayla nodded, her eyes full of understanding. "I'll wait," she said simply. Amara wanted to believe her, but fear kept her guarded. Then came the email. Amara was in the school library when she saw it. She was a finalist in the essay contest. Her heart stopped. She'd made it to the top 5, and the winner would be announced at the gala in 2 weeks. The prize money could save her mother, but she'd have to leave Ohio, face a room full of strangers, and tell her story on a stage. The thought terrified her, but she thought of Leisha's weak smile and knew she had no choice. Claire and Emily were overjoyed when she told them. They booked flights to New York, dipping into their savings again. Kayla insisted on coming, too, saying she wouldn't miss Amara's big moment. The 4 of them prepared together. Claire coaching Amara on public speaking, Emily helping her choose an outfit, a simple blue dress that made her feel strong. Kayla just held her hand, her quiet presence a steady anchor. The night before the gala, Amara visited her mother. Leisha was awake, her eyes brighter than they'd been in weeks. "You're gonna shine, baby," she said, her voice hoarse. Amara clung to her, whispering, "This is for you." She didn't say it aloud, but she vowed to win not just for the money, but to show the world what love could do. New York was overwhelming, a blur of lights and noise. The gala was held in a grand ballroom, with chandeliers glinting above a sea of well-dressed strangers. Amara's palms sweated as she waited backstage, her essay clutched in her hands. Kayla squeezed her shoulder, whispering, "You've got this." Claire and Emily sat in the audience, their faces full of pride. When Amara's name was called, her legs wobbled, but she stepped onto the stage, the spotlight blinding. She spoke from the heart, her voice trembling at first but growing stronger. She told the crowd about her mother's courage, about Claire and Emily's kindness, about finding love in a world that often felt cruel. The room was silent, then erupted in applause. Amara's heart pounded as she stepped off, unsure if she'd done enough. Kayla pulled her into a hug, whispering, "You were incredible." But the wait for the winner's announcement felt endless, and Amara's hope hung by a thread. The gala's host stepped to the podium, and Amara's heart felt like it might burst. She gripped Kayla's hand under the table, her eyes fixed on the stage. Claire and Emily sat on her other side, their faces tense with hope. The host read the winner's name, Amara Johnson. The room spun. Applause roared, but Amara barely heard it. She'd won $100. 000. A chance to save her mother. Kayla pulled her into a fierce hug, tears in her eyes, while Claire and Emily beamed, their hands clasped tightly. Backstage, Amara was a whirlwind of emotions: joy, relief, fear it wasn't real. The prize money would cover half the trial's cost, but she still needed $100. 000 more. The gala's broadcast had aired her story nationwide, and by morning, her crowdfunding page exploded. Donations poured in from strangers, moved by her words about love and sacrifice. The total climbed to $50. Then $75. Amara watched the numbers rise, tears streaming down her face. It wasn't enough yet, but it was hope. Returning to Ohio, Amara felt the weight of her new reality. The town had seen her on TV, and suddenly, she wasn't just the quiet black girl anymore. People stopped her at the grocery store, offering hugs and donations. Some apologized for past judgments about Claire and Emily. But not everyone was kind. A group of kids at school spread rumors, calling her a charity case who'd used her sob story to get famous. Amara ignored them, but the words stung. Kayla was her rock. They'd grown closer since the kiss, though Amara still held back, afraid to fully let go. One evening, they sat on Claire and Emily's porch, the stars bright above. Kayla took Amara's hand. "You don't have to be strong all the time," she said. Amara's throat tightened. "I don't know how to stop," she admitted. Kayla leaned closer, her voice soft. "Then let me carry some of it." Their second kiss was deeper, more certain, and Amara felt a spark of something she hadn't allowed herself to feel: possibility. The hospital called a week later. The trial had accepted Leisha, thanks to the prize money and donations, but they needed the full amount soon. Amara threw herself into action, organizing a town-wide fundraiser with Claire, Emily, and Kayla. They planned a festival: music, food, games, all to raise money for Leisha. The community showed up in droves, even those who'd once whispered about Amara's new family. Emily painted a mural for the event, a vibrant image of hands linked together, black and white, under a hopeful sky. Claire handled logistics, her lawyer's precision keeping everything on track. Kayla and her friends performed a punk rock set, dedicating it to Leisha. Amara watched from the crowd, her heart swelling. She took the stage afterward, thanking everyone with a voice that no longer shook. "This isn't just about my mom," she said. "It's about what we can do when we choose love over hate." The crowd cheered, and the donation buckets overflowed. By the end of the night, they'd raised $80. Amara was so close, but time was slipping away. Leisha was moved to California for the trial, and Amara went with her, staying in a small apartment near the hospital. Claire and Emily joined when they could, while Kayla sent daily texts, keeping Amara grounded. The trial was grueling. Leisha was weak, and the side effects were brutal. Amara spent hours by her side, reading to her, holding her hand, and praying for a miracle. One night, Leisha woke and smiled faintly. "You've given me more than I ever deserved," she said. Amara shook her head, tears falling. "You're my everything, Mama." Back in Ohio, Kayla had an idea. She reached out to the gala organizers, who'd been impressed by Amara's speech. They agreed to feature her story in a follow-up campaign, urging viewers to donate. The response was overwhelming. Donations hit $150. Then $180. Amara couldn't believe it. She called Kayla, sobbing. "You did this," she said. Kayla laughed softly. "No, you did. I just helped." But the trial wasn't a guaranteed cure. Leisha's body was fighting, but the cancer was stubborn. Amara lived in a constant state of hope and fear, her days a blur of hospital visits and late-night calls with Kayla. She was 17 now, balancing love, loss, and a future she couldn't quite see. Claire and Emily sent care packages, reminding her she had a home to return to. The town, once so quick to judge, was changing, inspired by Amara's courage. As the trial progressed, Amara faced a truth she'd been avoiding. Saving her mother might not mean keeping her forever. But she'd given Leisha a chance. And that was a victory no one could take away. Amara's days in California were a tightrope walk between hope and dread. Leisha's trial showed early promise. Her blood work improved slightly. And she had moments of strength, laughing with Amara over old memories. But the side effects were merciless, leaving Leisha exhausted and Amara terrified. She'd sit by her mother's bedside, reading poetry from a worn library book, her voice steady even when her heart wasn't. "You always loved words," Leisha murmured one day, her eyes soft. Amara smiled, but inside, she was screaming at the universe to give her mother more time. The crowdfunding campaign had reached $195,000, agonizingly close to the goal. Amara checked the page obsessively, her phone screen a lifeline. Kayla's campaign with the gala organizers was still gaining traction, and small donations trickled in from across the country. Amara felt the weight of every stranger's kindness, each dollar a thread of hope. Claire and Emily sent daily texts, offering to fly out, but Amara insisted they stay in Ohio. Someone needed to keep the community's momentum going. Kayla was Amara's anchor through it all. Their late-night calls stretched for hours, Kayla's voice a steady hum against Amara's fears. "You're the bravest person I know," Kayla said one night. Amara laughed bitterly. "I'm just scared." Kayla's reply was quiet but firm. "Brave doesn't mean you're not scared. It means you keep going." Amara clung to those words, letting them pull her through the darkest moments. Back in Ohio, the town was transforming. The festival had sparked something, a sense of unity that hadn't existed before. Claire and Emily became local heroes, their home a hub for planning more events. Some neighbors who'd once shunned them now brought casseroles, their apologies unspoken but clear. Amara's story had done more than raise money. It had cracked open hearts. But not everyone was on board. A local church group protested the fundraisers, calling Amara's family unnatural. Claire brushed it off, but Emily confided in Amara during a call. "It hurts, but we're fighting for you, too." Amara felt torn between two worlds, her mother's bedside and the life waiting for her in Ohio. She was falling deeper for Kayla, but every moment of joy felt like a betrayal. One evening, Leisha caught her smiling at a text from Kayla. "Tell me about her," Leisha said, her voice weak but curious. Amara hesitated, then spilled everything: Kayla's laugh, her courage, the way she made Amara feel seen. Leisha reached for her hand. "Love her, baby. Don't let fear stop you." Those words hit Amara like a wave, and she cried, promising herself she'd try. The trial's midpoint came, and the doctors were cautiously optimistic. Leisha's tumors hadn't grown, but they hadn't shrunk either. Amara clung to the hope of stability, but the hospital pressed for the final $5,000. In a moment of desperation, Amara posted a video on the crowdfunding page, her voice raw as she thanked everyone and pleaded for help to cross the finish line. The response was immediate. Donations surged, hitting $200,000 within hours. Amara collapsed in relief, calling Claire, Emily, and Kayla in a tearful group call. "We did it," she whispered. With the trial fully funded, Amara allowed herself to dream of a future where her mother was healthy, where she could build a life with Kayla, Claire, and Emily. But reality was never that simple. Leisha's condition fluctuated, and Amara's fear of losing her lingered. She started journaling, pouring her thoughts into a notebook Emily had sent her. It was her way of processing the chaos: her love for Kayla, her gratitude for Claire and Emily, her terror of what might come. One night, Kayla surprised Amara with a video call, holding up a poster she'd made, Amara's army. She'd rallied her school friends to send letters to Leisha, each one filled with encouragement. Amara read them to her mother, who smiled weakly, her eyes shining. "You've built something beautiful," Leisha said. Amara shook her head. "You taught me how." That night, she wrote in her journal, "I'm learning to love without losing myself. Mama, Kayla, Claire, Emily, they're all teaching me." As the trial neared its end, Amara faced a new challenge, returning to Ohio. The doctors said Leisha needed to stay for follow-up tests, but Amara's school and life were back home. Claire and Emily offered to let her stay with them permanently, officially adopting her if she wanted. The idea overwhelmed her. Belonging to a new family didn't mean leaving her mother behind, but it felt like a step into the unknown. Kayla's words echoed in her mind. "Brave doesn't mean you're not scared." Amara wasn't sure what she'd choose, but she knew she'd face it with the people she loved. Amara stood at a crossroads, her heart split between California and Ohio. Leisha's trial was showing mixed results. Her strength returned in fleeting moments, but the cancer was stubborn, lurking like a shadow. The doctors needed more time, and Amara couldn't stay forever. School was starting again, and Claire and Emily's offer of adoption hung in the air, both a comfort and a weight. Amara loved them, but the word family felt fragile, like it might break if she held it too tightly. Back in Ohio, Kayla was waiting. Their calls had grown longer, more intimate, filled with quiet confessions. Amara admitted her fears of losing her mother, of not being enough. Kayla shared her own struggles, her parents' disapproval of her queerness, her fight to be herself. "You make me feel like I can do anything," Kayla said one night, her voice crackling through the phone. Amara's heart ached with love, but she still held back, afraid to fully surrender. Claire and Emily flew to California for a weekend, bringing warmth and stability. They sat with Amara in the hospital cafeteria, talking about the future. "You don't have to decide now," Claire said, her lawyer's calm masking her worry. Emily added, "We want you to have a home, no matter what." Amara nodded, tears in her eyes. She saw their love for each other, their strength as a couple, and it gave her courage. That night, she told Leisha about the adoption offer. Her mother's smile was weak but genuine. "They're good people, baby. Let them love you." The decision weighed on Amara as she returned to Ohio. The town greeted her like a hero, but she felt like a fraud. Her mother wasn't cured, and the fight wasn't over. School. Kayla was there, her grin brighter than the autumn sun. They walked home together, hands brushing, and Amara let herself lean into the moment. At Claire and Emily's house, she found a letter from the gala organizers. Her essay was being published in a national magazine, with all proceeds going to Leisha's care. Amara cried, overwhelmed by the kindness of strangers. The community hadn't forgotten her. The festival had sparked a movement, with local businesses donating to a fund for families facing medical debt. Amara spoke at a town hall, her voice steady now, sharing her story to inspire others. She talked about lover mothers, Claire and Emily's, Kayla, and how it could change everything. The crowd stood, applauding, and for the first time, Amara felt like she belonged. But belonging came with pain. The church group's protests grew louder, their signs calling Amara's family sinful. One day, someone spray-painted a slur on Claire and Emily's mailbox. Amara's rage boiled over, but Claire stopped her from confronting them. "Hate doesn't win by shouting louder," she said. Instead, they painted over the slur with bright colors, turning the mailbox into a rainbow. Kayla helped, her laughter defiant. "Let's make them choke on their own venom," she said, and Amara kissed her, right there in the driveway, not caring who saw. Leisha's updates came weekly, each one a roller coaster. One call brought hope her tumors were shrinking slightly. The next brought fear her immune system was struggling. Amara poured her energy into school and fundraisers, balancing her love for Kayla with her fight for her mother. She and Kayla started a school club for queer kids, a safe space where they could be themselves. It was small, but it mattered. Amara saw herself in the nervous freshmen who joined, and she vowed to be the courage they needed. One night, Amara sat with Claire and Emily, the adoption papers on the table. "I want this," she said, her voice firm. "But I need Mama to be part of it." They nodded, tears in their eyes. They called Leisha together, and she gave her blessing, her voice cracking with pride. "You're building a big family, baby," she said. Amara felt a weight lift, but the fear of losing her mother lingered. As winter approached, Amara planned a surprise for Leisha video montage of messages from the town, Kayla's band, and the queer club. She worked late nights with Kayla, editing clips, their hands brushing over the keyboard. When they finished, Kayla kissed her forehead. "You're my home," she whispered. Amara's heart soared, and she let herself believe in a future where love could coexist with loss. The video was a hit, and Leisha called, sobbing with joy. "You've given me so much," she said. Amara clung to those words, knowing the trial's outcome was still uncertain. She was learning to live in the in-between, holding tight to the people who made her whole. Winter settled over Ohio, but Amara's heart burned with purpose. Leisha's trial was nearing its end, and the doctors were cautiously hopeful her tumors had stabilized, and she was strong enough to return home. Amara flew to California to bring her mother back, her heart a tangle of joy and fear. The adoption with Claire and Emily was finalized, making them her legal guardians. But Leisha remained her anchor, her first love. As the plane touched down, Amara held her mother's hand, promising herself she'd cherish every moment. The town welcomed Leisha with open arms. Claire and Emily had transformed their home into a warm haven, with a bedroom ready for Leisha's recovery. Kayla was there, too, her grin wide as she helped carry Leisha's bags. The sight of them all together, Amara's old family and new, felt like a miracle. Leisha, though frail, laughed for the first time in months, her eyes bright as she hugged Claire and Emily. "Thank you for loving my girl," she said. Amara's throat tightened, her heart full. But the fight wasn't over. Leisha needed ongoing care, and the medical bills loomed. Amara's essay had sparked a movement, and the town's fund for medical debt was growing, helping others as well as Leisha. Amara and Kayla worked together, organizing events to keep the momentum. Their queer club grew, too, becoming a beacon for kids who felt out of place. Amara found strength in their stories, seeing her own struggles reflected back. She and Kayla were open about their relationship now, holding hands at school despite the occasional glare. Love, Amara realized, was her defiance. One spring day, the town held a celebration for Leisha's return. The park was filled with music, food, and faces Amara once thought would never care. She took the stage, her voice clear and strong. "This isn't just about my mom," she said. "It's about what we can do when we choose each other." She looked at Leisha, Claire, Emily, and Kayla. Her family forged through fire. The crowd cheered, and even the church protesters stood quietly, their signs lowered. Leisha's recovery was slow, but she was home, surrounded by love. Amara spent evenings with her, sharing stories of school and Kayla. Leisha listened, her smile brighter each day. "You've changed the world, baby," she said one night. Amara shook her head. I just wanted to save you. Leisha pulled her close. You did. And you saved yourself, too. Amara's 18th birthday came. A milestone she'd feared she'd face without her mother. Claire and Emily threw a party, with Kayla sneaking in a playlist of Amara's favorite songs. Leisha gave her a locket with a photo of them together, her hands trembling as she fastened it around Amara's neck. You're my heart, she said. Amara cried, holding her mother tightly, knowing these moments were precious. Kayla and Amara grew closer, their love a quiet strength. They talked about college, dreaming of a future where they could build a life together. Claire and Emily supported them, offering advice and love without judgment. The town, once divided, was healing, inspired by Amara's courage and the family she'd built. The fund for medical debt had helped dozens of families, and Amara's story was shared in schools and churches, a testament to love's power. One evening, Amara sat with her family, Leisha, Claire, Emily, and Kayla in the porch, watching the sunset. Leisha was stronger, her laughter filling the air. Amara realized she'd done more than save her mother. She'd shown the world what love could do. She'd faced hate, fear, and loss, and come out stronger, surrounded by a family that chose her as fiercely as she chose them. Her story shocked everyone not because of the money raised or the trial's success, but because it proved love could bridge divides: race, identity, fear. Amara, a black lesbian girl in a small town, had built a family that defied every expectation. She looked at Kayla, her hand warm in hers, and knew they'd face whatever came next together. Leisha's hand rested on hers, Claire and Emily's laughter ringing out, and Amara felt whole. She'd fought for love, and in doing so, she'd changed everything.